Most boards of directors today are looking for a guidebook as to how they should actually be conducting business. Well, now there is one. It's called Boardroom Secrets, and it's been written by Yılmaz Argüden. He is the chairman of Argü Consulting, which is a strategic boutique in Istanbul, and he's also chairman of Rothschild, Turkey. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me over.
One of the things you say is that you believe that the role of CEO and president, or CEO and chairman, that the chairman of the board should not be running the company.
Yes, because there are the role of the boards are to provide guidance and oversight to management. And providing guidance to management means that you have to separate these two roles, because every business decision has four aspects to it. First, somebody has to come up with the initiative, proposal. Then there has to be some kind of judgment whether or not this proposal is the right proposal and provide provision of approval. Then once the decision is approved, it has to be implemented according to that approval. And the final element is to check to see whether or not it's implemented properly. So the first and the third are management rights. That is, taking the initiative and implementing are management rights. Providing approval and checking to see whether or not it's done properly are governance rights, which is the role of the board. So if we confuse these roles, it would be very difficult to fulfill these functions properly.
There should be some level of competence, though, or know-how in terms of the board about the business that they're sitting on the board of. And I mention that because there was a study that showed of failed banks, those that failed all had boards that were populated by people with very little experience in this field. So how do you measure board competence, and how much should there be?
What we need from the board members is definitely a holistic understanding of the company's business very properly. So it takes a lot of effort and wisdom, because boards need to make judgments on a number of very key issues. For example, risk-reward balance of the decisions that the management is proposing. Another issue is short-term, long-term impacts of the proposals. Third, the effects of the proposed decisions on different stakeholders. And finally, whether or not there is an agency problem.
Now, corporate social responsibility is kind of an adjunct to good governance. I suppose it's part of it. What role does the board take in implementing policies of CSR?
CSR is not an adjunct issue to main board issues. It is part of the social license of the company to operate in a community and utilize its knowledge and resources to make sure that the community in which it lives prospers as well. So the first item in good corporate social responsibility is actually doing its own job right. So profitability of the company, making sure that its products are safe and so forth, are part of the corporate social responsibility as well. It's not only donations, right? Second, it is making sure that the company utilizes its resources effectively, regardless of whether or not it pays for it. Similarly, having too much short-term focus, for example, by reducing the wages of all the employees a lot, maybe helps the quarterly earnings, but definitely loses the attraction of good people, talent, to the company. So corporate social responsibility is actually first and foremost doing the business right. Then acting responsibly to all the stakeholders that you deal with, starting from customers all the way to environment and the community. So when you look at it from this perspective, it is definitely a board responsibility, because the board's responsibility is to have sustainable success for the corporation. And sustainable success requires effective utilization of all the resources entrusted to the corporation, regardless of who entrusts them, whether if it is the environment or the community or the shareholders, and utilizing them properly.